people are the most important thing you have. Surround yourself with amazing people. It would be, embrace the grind. I know that might be cliche, but it's so important. Like, you literally have to, it's a grind. And if you don't love it, if you don't appreciate it, if you aren't in love with it, not just you to love it, but you have to actually be in love with it. Yeah. Then this is not, you have to really embrace the grind. And then just know that it's not a straight line, and it's all going to get figured out, Okay.
So you just have to trust and you follow your passion, basically.
Yeah. And surround yourself with good people. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's never easy. So the how, I think it was, two things. I think it's having a really good idea with some traction. And then, and basically, like, without that, I mean, no one's going to care. And then it's just networking. Like, one person introduced me to two people. Those two people introduced me to one person. That one person introduced me to three people. And it kind of just like caught on. And I think if you're truly grateful and humble, I think people are happier and more giving and of their network. And I'm a person who's seen both sides of it. As far as money and, upbringing and all that kind of stuff. And I am truly grateful. So I return the favor as often and as many times as I can. And I'm, whatever I can do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So, like, from the viewpoint of someone who wants to start a business, so you have this great idea. I think a lot of people come to that point, but like, what were your next steps? Like, how did you build it up?
Yeah. So it's never, what I learned, it's never a straight line to go from your idea to whatever, to make it happen. So it's all about people and execution. So what happened was, after day one of, okay, here's the idea, you go out and start talking to people about it, trying to get their feedback. And then you go and try to build some kind of MVP version of this with no customers, just, trying to build something out. So did that. And then we got some customers on there, like some users, and did that a few times and iterated and changed things. So we pivoted, as people call it. And then we started locking in on an idea through feedback and data. And then we said, you know what, let's draw the line in the sand and use the data and our intuition. So quantitative and qualitative data, and said, here's what we're going to do. And then we went out and found the most amazing CTO and co-founder, and he brought his dev team on board, heavy hitters, studs, and they really turned this to the next level. And then we got more users, and then added more features, and then brought on the business side recently. So it was step by step, and it was a very non-straight line, very, very curved line. It's the way it is. I always hate when people are I had an idea, I wrote it on a napkin with a buddy at a bar, and now I'm on my yacht. That's all bullshit. It's never a straight line. There's always speed bumps and left turns that just keep going left for a while,
Especially in the tech field, and especially in the US, it's super hard to do because you're competing with all these software companies, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, all these cool companies that are so shiny. How can you even compete with that, from a recruiter standpoint?
So there's one big key is that you need to be a good person and obviously, and have a big, crazy vision. But but on the execution side, you want to hire a queen and a king that know all the people. They already have them in their back pocket. They already are friends with them, right? So if you go and hire a CTO and she has an amazing background and she'll just make some calls and then all of a sudden your dev team is filled. That's what happened with us. And because we've never worked with a recruiter. But we've learned a lot along the way, on interviewing people, that are brought in through friends. Like we have, like one person referred a designer, then the CTO brought in all his and her, engineers. It all just kind of worked like this. The one of the investors is like, here are some more people on the business side. A company that we partner up with is like, here's your VP of sales, right? And like, I'm like, oh my God, this is great. But we've learned that you can teach skill, but you can't teach attitude. So it's very over the years, from my time of being a, entrepreneur. So it's important to like weed people in and weed them out as fast as possible. It's about finding people that are already in a startup, right? We're a startup. Finding people that are already leaders in their world. If they're already leaders, if they're already like, hands-on leader, hands-on exec or whatever, then that's who we bring on board. And then they are hopefully excited about what we're doing and they get their hands dirty as well, because everyone is like their own coach of their own team that's small, and they're part of that team too. They're the player as well. So they come up with, we want to make sure we interview it with like, hey, what are your ideas? What's your vision? What's your strategy? And then can you execute on your own strategy and ideas and vision? Right? Because we're all doing that.
I see. So
they check off those boxes during the interview process, and that's what gets us excited.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and never miss an episode of Svencast again.